Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to do a brewery that's quite local to me in Durham once again. So we're going to head down to Newton Aycliffe, which if I'm remembering rightly is a little bit to the kind of southwest-ish of where we are, and we're going to return it to Steam Machine Brewing Company. So this is my fifth review that I'm filming from these guys, but the fourth one that you're going to see on the channel, and this one is their Peach Haze IPA. So it comes in at 6.2%. This one's supposed to be a sort of lactosey, kind of New England style IPA, and you know, it should be really nice. This was a beer that they released very recently in April of 2018, so I'm filming this beer review towards the end of April, but you'll see it sometime in May. So really looking forward to this one. I did try the New England Session IPA from these guys, which was really good. I enjoyed that. That was the best IPA I'd had from them so far, or even I would say the best beer in the kind of lighter end of the spectrum when it comes to beer styles. But hopefully this is another good one, and we'll see how we get on. I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Steam Machine Brewing Company before. As I say, this is number 5, and I'm sure there'll be more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you, and that's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Steam Machine Brewery then. So as I mentioned to you a second ago, Steam Machine Brewery are based in Newton Aycliffe, and they were founded back in 2015 by Nick and Gulen Smith. So they started the company up with a small business loan after they returned from the Channel Islands, where Nick had been working as a science teacher, and Gulen, of course, is his wife, and she's originally from Turkey. But the brewery itself is apparently an old wartime munitions factory, where they all, and this is also where they have their kind of brew room, if you like, so you can go there and try the beers fresh from tap, and they also do some food as well. So that's something that I definitely need to check out before my year in Durham ends. Like I said, I'll be heading back over to Sweden in August. But over the last few years, they've been gradually expanding, and they received mentoring as well from Richard Branson after Nick shared a train journey with them. I think he was on his way back from London, he was saying, because I did actually speak to Nick and Gulen when they had their little pop-up bar in Durham. They are, from what I gather, looking to open up a kind of permanent bar in Durham to sell their beers, sort of start their own craft beer bar with their beers and other local things. So I'll say to them, best of luck with that, because that's something that Durham probably could do with, actually. So the Durham, we have Head of Steam. We have the station house, but we don't have a kind of almost like brew pub type sort of thing, so it'd be really cool if Steam Machine Brewing Company could be the ones that that kick that off, because it's nice people behind the company, and they do some pretty nice beers as well. I have to say, probably my favourite beer I've had from these guys so far was the Treacle Toffee Stout, the Big Imperial Stout. I was really impressed with that. That was the first one that I tried. But like I said, the New England Session IPA, I have to admit I was quite impressed with as well, and I've heard very good things about this too. So this one was another one that was recommended to me by the guys at Market Hall Wines in Durham. I'll put the link to their Facebook page in the description below for you to check out as well. They're always the ones who have, they always have quite a few of the Steam Machine beers, as well as various other local things, and a lot of the really good kind of English craft beers as well. So if you're watching from the kind of Durham area, I do recommend that you go there if you want to get some craft beers. But anyway, that's all you need to know about the brewery. Make sure you check out Market Hall Wines as well, and let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. So yeah, artwork on this one is a little bit different actually compared to some of the other ones. A little bit less complex compared to some of the other artworks you'll get on the Steam Machine Company's beers. It says on the back here, Peach Haze IPA, a silky lactose IPA bursting with beautiful sweet fruity notes from Amarillo, Citra and Mosaic hops. That's a pretty good hop bill, I would say. And then it's loaded up with real peaches, inspired by the modern milkshake and New England IPA. So yeah, kind of right up my street. There's some really good hazy IPAs these days, but nicely presented can, this one, little 330ml. And yeah, so that's all you need to do. So let's, without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. If I can actually get this thing to open, there we are. So a nice little bit of smoke on the opening. I'll tell you something, you can smell the peaches coming off that as soon as you open up. But let's get it out into the glass and see how we get on. Yeah, there we are. Get the head on that. That was a bit of an aggressive pour. I can't speak tonight, of course. That was a little bit of an aggressive pour, so hence why you've got such a big head on this one. But yeah, pretty much exactly as you'd expect from one of these kind of milkshake New England IPAs. It's quite dark in colour actually, it's got quite a murky sort of orange feel to it. There's a solid 2 fingers or a frothy head on this one. As I say, my pour was a little bit aggressive, so you might get less. And I would say that's a sort of creamy colour. It does have a little bit of a very slight sort of beigey hint to it, or a fawn hint or something like that. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there, quite a few big bubbles actually, but most of them are starting to make their way up towards the bottom of that head there. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see the beer really isn't transparent. It is a really quite murky sort of hazy beer, but that, to be fair, is what you would expect from one of these New England IPAs. But looks very, very nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we got on. And you can smell the peaches coming off this, and you get a little bit of, for me, I'm detecting the citra hop on this right away. The citra is really distinctive to me, the mangoes, and a little bit of the lychees and things like that as well. That's really, really distinctive just as you're moving this beer about. But let's take a closer look and see how we get on. Yeah. What I would say about this one, it's not quite as pungent in its aroma as the Session New England. I'd definitely say that about this beer. When you're further away from it, you can smell these nice fruity esters coming off the beer, but when you go into it, it's actually a really quite mild aroma. So yeah, some nice, there is a good bit of a sort of bready kind of note to this one, but you can pick up the lactose and some of the oats as well. It's got that almost milky quality to it, so you can pick that up right away. The oaty sweetness is in there as well. But yeah, it's a nice smelling beer, this one. I like how that comes across, but yeah, it does smell quite juicy, as I say. There's a wee bit of a peachy and mango note to this one, but it's not, in terms of the fruitiness, it's not as pungent as the New England IPA, definitely not. It's quite, this one to me, in terms of aroma, it leans a little bit more towards the kind of the malty side of things. It's not too pungent with its fruity notes. You can get a little bit of the juiciness from the mango, like I was saying. There's a wee bit of the tangerine coming out, which will be the mosaic. There's maybe a little bit of blueberry as well, which again is the mosaic. I've really found recently that the mosaic has this little blueberry note to it, so you can pick up a little bit of that, and definitely a little bit of the mangoes too. When you sugar it up, actually, when the head starts to disappear, you can get a little bit of the oranges and things like that. Once the head's down a little bit, in fairness, you can get a little bit more of those fruity notes, especially when you sugar it up. But in terms of just the general kind of feel of this IPA, the aroma, for me, is definitely leaning towards the kind of lactosey, malty side of things. But nothing wrong with that, as long as the beer kind of tastes good and has a good little bit of hoppy character when it's an IPA, which I'm sure it will, then that's all good by me. But just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma. As I always say, that's always half the experience when it comes to craft beer, whiskey and sake and things like that. But let's get stuck into this beer then. So this one is the Peach Haze IPA, 6.2% from the Steam Machine Brewing Company in Newton Aycliffe, near Durham in County Durham in England. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Yeah. That's pretty nice, I have to say. You definitely get that sort of lactosey, milky kind of thing that they were talking about. The hops are a lot more apparent in the flavour of this one than they are in the aroma, definitely, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing, because this one was a bit kind of mild in terms of its hoppy aroma. But I'll tell you, yeah, that is a nice beer. For me, it'd be interesting to actually do this kind of side to side with the New England IPA, because I was really quite impressed with that New England Session IPA they had, because it had this really kind of wet mouth feel. And this is the kind of thing that you can see if you compare this to I have had the regular Session IPA. I mean, if you compare this beer and the New England Session IPA to the original beer that was called the Session, you can see they are, for me, they are kind of getting stronger in their lighter size. I said that in my last video. One of the things I thought about this brewery when I tried them out, I thought, you know, maybe they're going to be a brewery that developed to be one that's really good at imperial stouts, because they already had that the treacle toffee stout there, which was a really, you know, really just, it was a beautiful beer that, and I did wonder, right, is that going to be their kind of niche? Are they going to be really good at producing imperial stouts? And their light beers were good, but in fairness, the dark beers were on a different level from the light beers in my opinion. But it's cool to see, because I think that on the basis of the two light beers that I've had in these two videos, the lighter beers are starting to kind of catch up to their darker beers actually. And they do have another porter that I will review for you at some point as well, that's only just come out. So I'll review that and see, maybe that will change my opinion again a little bit slightly. But I think the lighter beers that they're doing now have kind of picked up a little bit. So do make sure you have a go at this, because it is a really nice IPA, this one. But yeah, in terms of the flavours of this one, then I've just been chatting about the brewery a little bit. So you can feel with this beer, across the middle of the palate, it's lovely, it's really smooth actually. The New England session one was a little bit kind of lighter and sort of wetter, if that makes sense. It really had that kind of session refreshing quality about it, which was good. This one is definitely one that you're maybe only going to have one or two of, if you like. It's got that lovely sort of slightly white bready character. As the beer kind of progresses further and further into the aftertaste, you've got a nice, you definitely have that nice kind of sweetness from the oats coming out in this one. I'm pretty sure they've put a little bit of oat kind of things in the malt base of this. There's almost a little bit of a biscuity flavour as well, but you can definitely feel that almost creamy flavour coming out from the lovely kind of lactose parts of the beer. It is just really nice. The malt base in this one is really quite nicely done, and I would say to them, stick with that malt base, because it is done well. And of course the fruity side of things is where the most part of the complexity in this beer is going to come out. So in the back corners of the palate, there's a wee tiny touch of earthiness. That'll be the mosaic that gives you that. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you can feel there's a little bit, it's not quite a spicy floral aromaticity, but it's got that nice bit of kind of, almost, it's got a very slight bit of dankness to it. Then round the very front curve of the palate, you've got a little bit of grassy character too. But what I would say about this one, and it's one of the things you can always tell when fruit's been added to a beer rather than the flavours being extracted from the hops. So the fruity character in this one, you can feel around the front kind of curve of your tongue that it's a little bit more juicy, and some of those peachy flavours are coming out of there. That's one of the telltale signs that your beer has added fruit to it, because it's not quite as dry and bitter on the edge of the tongue as it might otherwise have been. It does suppress the sort of floral and grassy parts of the hop a little bit when you add fruit to the beer. Yeah, as I always say, that little oily bubble behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where some of these really nice kind of fruity esters are coming out of this beer. So for me with this one, you can pick up the mangoes are definitely there. I would say that you can get a little bit of that sort of oily orange as well, and that'll be the Amarillo more than the Mosaic. And as you go further and further into the aftertaste, for me the peaches around the edge of the tongue, they start to, that slightly stronger flavour from them starts to push its way out a little bit more. But right, pardon me, on the tip of your tongue, you can pick up, there's a little bit of lychee and almost a little bit of a kind of blueberry note as well. Again, that comes from the Mosaic. Maybe even there's a little bit of pineapple, I think, in there as well, which again is the Mosaic. I'm not so much getting the kind of tangerine notes which you quite often get from the Mosaic. I think that the Amarillo, the kind of more oily orange that you get from Amarillo, is sitting there a little bit more. So I think the base of the fruit is the mangoes and the oranges. Then on the front part of your tongue, you've got a little bit of as I say, the sort of lychees and the blueberries. Maybe a little bit of pineapple as well, which are the complexities that come out from these different hops, particularly the Citra and the Mosaic. But then the juicy peaches do start to come out a little bit more as you go further and further into the aftertaste of this beer. So yeah, I would say in terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I think it's fair to say it's a mid-bodied beer. It's maybe pushing the top end of mid-bodied actually. Carbonation's very smooth. The mouthfeel is really... the mouthfeel, I would say, is probably, it is quite a creamy mouthfeel, this one. There's not so much in the way of oily character. I'd say, yeah, creamy is probably the best way to describe the mouthfeel. This one, good little bit of hoppy bitterness, nice bit of fruity juiciness as well, and the malt base has that nice kind of sort of silky kind of creamy smoothness. I'm using the words on the back of the can there actually, so they're saying, well, a silky lactose IPA, but it does have that kind of creamy smoothness to it that you would expect in one of these lactosey IPAs. But yeah, this one is a really, really nice beer. Do I like this better than the New England Session IPA? That's quite a good question actually. It kind of depends what you're in the mood for. The New England Session IPA is a really easy drinking beer. If you want just one of something, then I would probably be more likely to go for this because it's a little bit stronger and it's just a little bit bigger in the mouthfeel, to be honest. I'm not a big one when it comes to sessioning beer. I like to try lots of different things, so if it came down to that, I just wanted one beer, I'd go for that. If I wanted a few, you know, you would go for the New England Session IPA. But overall, a really nice beer, and like I said, it is cool to see that the kind of lighter styles, if you like, at the other end of the spectrum, are kind of picking up from these guys. They did good light beers already, but the standard has actually, I would say, picked up with these two beers. They've kind of taken it to the next level, I would say. But yeah, another really nice IPA from Steam Machine Brewing Company, so a big thumbs up to Nick and Gulen for this one. They've done a good job of that, so have a go at it if you get the chance. I do need to make sure I review their new porter at some point for you fairly soon as well. But yeah, I'm glad I've got to review this one, and once again, thank you for watching. So yeah, until the next time, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Steam Machine Brewing Company. Do of course give me some other recommendations for beers and breweries too, but this one's a really nice IPA. If you like peaches, this one will be right up your street. It's got a very good hop bill in it as well though, so it's got enough tropical fruit complexity to keep you going. If you like the likes of the $7 Shake from Siren Brewery, this is one that you're going to enjoy. If you enjoy just a good kind of hazy lactosey IPA, they've done a good job of this, so I think you will be pretty impressed with it if you have a go. But yeah, really nice beer, and I'm glad that I got to try this one. So this was the Peach Haze IPA from Steam Machine Brewing Company in Newton Aycliffe in County Durham in England. Once again, another really nice beer, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys very soon. You'll see me review their porter at some point in the fairly near future. It's landed just now. Let's go.